All right, answering another question from one of our subscribers today. Flintstone asks, I notice when I play my favorite rapper's music to the max on my phone, it starts to distort and sound kind of bad. But when I do the same to other artists, they still sound clear and good. Can you tell me why that happens? Short answer is because their mix and masters suck. I mean, in all seriousness, there are bad mixes in any genre. There are multiple reasons as to why this happens more often with rap as opposed to other genres. The first one is just a matter of sheer numbers. Hip-hop, trap, rap is an incredibly popular genre, and it's very accessible because it's completely computer-based for the most part. And there's a lot of people doing it at home, not really doing it professional. So there's a lot of music that gets pumped out every day. And when you have a big number, of course, you're gonna have also a big number of bad mixes and masters. The second reason is the very, very common bad practice, and I talked about this many times, of recording vocals on a pre-made and pre-mixed and pre-mastered beat. This happens all the time, and surprisingly, it happens at high levels as well. And of course, I talked about this many times, that's not really the right way to do it, and the results are always a compromise. The third reason is different variation of the same thing, which is linked to the fact that in most cases, rap and hip-hop, they don't record real instruments. This is in no way inherently bad. The problem is that producers and mixing engineers that have experience with real instruments have just a different set of skill and a different set of tool and a different approach to mixing. Linked to this, there's the fact that they very often use samples. And those samples many times are already pushed to the max, are already limited, are already super processed. Why? Because who sells the samples wants to impress the customer by making an impact the first time that you play a certain sample, right? If it's loud, if it's processed, if it sounds great by itself, you give this false sense of, oh my God, it's ready already. But no single sound or no single sample makes sense on its own. It doesn't matter how good it sounds by itself, right? I said this many times, a perfect mix is a combination of imperfect elements. If everything is pushed to the max and is maximized and it's got exciter on it and super shiny top end and great low end, when you put them all together, it's a mess. Okay, so most of these samples already have some inherent distortion in them. And when you start stacking these small distortion one with another, when you compile a track, you potentially end up, and it happens often, with a mix and a master that is just very, very harsh, very hard to listen to, that distorts very easily, and that's exactly what you're experiencing. In all fairness, you said when you play your favorite rappers to the max on your phone. Phones are obviously an absolute crap media where to listen music to. So many phones, when you turn the volume to the max and you're playing a loud mix, as in very low LUFS or RMS, so a loud mix and master, they will distort even if the mix/master is well done and it doesn't distort on its own. It's because phones can only handle a certain amount of decibel, and they are absolute crap media where to listen music to. But of course you say other genres, other artists don't do that, they're still clear, and other do. It's easy to understand which one of the two scenarios is, if it's a crappy mix and master or it's the phone that maxed out. If you compare two mixes and they have about the same volume, the same LUFS, the same RMS, right? They both sound loud the same when you push the volume to the max, and one doesn't distort and the other does, then the one that does is a crappy mix. If two equally loud songs both distort when you push the volume to the max, then it's the phone. I hope this last part is clear because it's very important, all right? Given the same loudness of two different songs, if one distorts and the other doesn't, it's a crappy mix and a crappy master. I hope this answered the question. Guys, if you have questions for the Q&A, leave it in the comment down below. Check the info box before you go. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.